So you might be wondering, why are people still moving out here to Colorado with the rising prices, the really tough housing competition, and how in the news, they're reporting that actually a lot of people are moving out of the state? Well, then this video is for you. My name is Adam Lang. I've lived here for over 42 years, and I've seen firsthand how much the Mile High City has changed. But I've also seen just how much it truly can offer its residents that choose to live here. So in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing 3 very real reasons why locals continue to choose to live here in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. And why, despite some of these headlines, the state is still one of the smartest places in the US to live and invest for the long haul. So with all that being said, join me on a brand new episode of Living in Denver. All right, so let's just jump right into it today with reason number 1, and that is actually probably my favorite of all 3 that I'm sharing with you today. And it's not just a place on the map. Denver actually, it's really about the lifestyle. So out here in Colorado, it is completely normal for somebody to go out for a trail run before work, still make it to the office for a full day, and still get out to a rooftop deck for happy hour to close out the day and enjoy this beautiful weather that we have pretty much year round. But what makes Denver, I think, so unique and better, in my opinion, to other areas around the United States that has still an outdoor active lifestyle available to the residents is it's not just that. You know, Denver is an incredible city full of so many urban activities as well. Live music, great restaurants and bars. There's just so much to offer, not just on the outdoor lifestyle, but also with everything else that goes along with this great city, Denver, Colorado. So it really is that balance of both worlds, and it's just a great lifestyle that you have when you live here. So a long-winded way of just really making that point that the balance is what makes it so unique here, where you do have so much great outdoor activities, but you also have a lot of other great things to do when it comes to that urban lifestyle. So definitely, I think, a very unique place here in Denver for that purpose. And it's one of the reasons why, for myself, I still live here after over 40 years. And Denver continues to get better and better. You know, I think back 20 years ago when I was graduating college and really just deciding where I wanted to be in life, I really decided to continue to live here in Colorado because of this. You know, I had friends that were going out to other states, even going completely across the country to, the West Coast or to the East Coast. And one of the things that really just kept me grounded and wanting to stay in Denver is, again, just how many different types of activities, hobbies, just so many fun things that you could get involved in and really just keep life interesting because, I'll give you an example for myself. Every few years, I kind of pick up something new, whether that be maybe getting into mountain biking for a couple years. And that one, for an example, for me, it just didn't really click with me. It was fun, but I didn't get that passionate about it. So, it was fun for a couple years, and then I moved on to other things. It's just so many different things to get involved in out here. And if you guys aren't that familiar yet with Denver and what I'm talking about here, I just recommend to do 2 things. Number 1, come out here in 2 or 3 different times throughout the year. Come out in the fall. Come out in the fall and enjoy the beautiful colors that we have up in the mountains with the aspen leaves. But maybe also come out again in the wintertime and enjoy skiing and some of the other winter activities. And then it might be worth also, though, coming in the heart of the summer where it's a bit warmer, but there's all these other activities to do up in the lakes, up in the mountains, or maybe you're getting a little bit more involved with rafting or kayaking or just some of the backpacking and camping that's available. I mean, again, I could go on and on, but there's just so many things to do out here and in all the different seasons. So if you guys haven't been out in different times of the year, that's a big tip that I think is really important to do, especially before making a big decision like choosing the Mile High City to be your next home base. Okay, so with that, let's just jump right into reason number 2, which is that Denver, it truly does have seasons, but the kicker here is all 4 of them really are enjoyable. You hear about places around the country where they've got 6 months of really harsh winter where it's humid and it's super cold and you don't even want to be outside. Even in the worst days out here in Denver, you might have a couple days where it's a blizzard or just really, really bad cold or, really bad weather. But the great thing is you just wait. Give it a couple days and you're gonna be in a completely different type of environment. And that's just something that's hard to explain until you're out here, but there truly are just these abilities to, get through the tough months, whatever that may be for you. For example, maybe you're not really a cold weather person, so wintertime is just not your cup of tea. What I love about the seasons here, and even within the seasons, is, you might have a really cold spell for a couple days, but then the sun comes back out, it warms up, and it kind of gets you through that week and on to the next. And, before you know it, you're already into that next season. And I just can't think of that many other places around the country, or really in the world for that matter, that have such distinct and unique different seasons, all four of them. I oftentimes get questions from clients when they're coming out to Colorado to meet with me to go look at homes, people that found me on YouTube, maybe like you guys are. And one of the things that I get asked the most is, what's your favorite season? And, I've been somebody that's asked that to other people as well. And it really started making me think a little bit more and realize that I really don't even have a favorite season, or another way to put that is it changes over the course of your life. I was super into skiing for probably about 25 years of my life, really from high school all the way up until a few years ago. And that made winter one of my absolute favorite seasons. And, I just haven't been quite as passionate about skiing in the past few years. So I've really kind of transitioned, and now fall is my favorite season. Just making the point that this can change over time, but really the biggest point to make, if you're not familiar with what it even means to have 4 seasons, it just makes life so much more enjoyable, exciting. There's just always something to look forward to, and it just makes life that much more enjoyable and fun, in my opinion. Colorado has this claim to fame of 300 days of sunshine a year, and yes, that is true, but I think the more important thing really to take away from that claim to fame is, in other parts of the country, maybe places like the Midwest, let's use Chicago as an example, when that snow hits, it doesn't go away, it stays on the ground, and it's there for, and sometimes maybe 2 or 3 months until the springtime, and it finally melts. What I love about that 300 days of sunshine, and especially in those winter months, is even when we have these massive blizzards, maybe we get 2 feet of snow, it's all gone within a week or two. And that just makes it so much easier to get around. It feels so much more clean, and it just keeps everybody's moods and just spirits a little bit higher, because even in these really intense snowstorms, using winter as the example here, we know that it's not going to last forever. And that is a huge perk, and I think something that people really don't talk enough about is just how quickly it melts, and how even though you might be in a rough couple of days of weather, it'll pass and you'll be back to beautiful, sunny Colorado weather in no time. Oh, and really quickly too, guys, I want to share one tip, since this is, about real estate and just the benefits and the pros and the cons of living here in Denver, Colorado. If you are out looking for homes, maybe you're not that familiar with Colorado and you've never bought a home where you deal with winter and the seasons. One pro tip for you guys is, when you're looking for homes, always do your best to buy a home that does not have a north-facing driveway. When you have a north-facing driveway, it just ends up being in the shade for the majority of the day in the wintertime. And when that snow does fall, if you're not super adamant about getting out right away and shoveling it, maybe you have some delivery trucks pull up on your driveway and pack down that snow, or maybe you're just in a hurry and leaving in the morning before getting a chance to shovel the snow. Man, if you have a north-facing driveway, it is such a pain to get that snow off and just to keep it clean and dry and avoid slippery conditions where you might even be falling and risking hurting yourself. Always, if you can, find a home that has a south-facing driveway. So just a very important tip to keep in mind, and I promise you're going to be really thankful that you bought a house that is not facing north. Okay, so with that, let's just jump right into the third and final reason. I really wanted to keep this video short and sweet for you guys today, and really pack a punch with 3 of these reasons that I think are the biggest for why locals continue to live here in Colorado, especially in Denver, the Mile High City. So this third one is a little bit different. You guys may not have really considered or thought about this before, but technology is changing, and it is changing fast. I mean, I've been hearing some stories recently about how much AI is going to be replacing jobs, and we think of this as something way off in the future, maybe in a decade or 2. But a lot of these recent claims are even in the next 24 months, up to maybe 30% of the current jobs could theoretically be replaced by AI. So this is real, and it's happening right now as we speak. And the pro, or really this spin that I want to put on this point for why people continue to choose Denver is with all of this AI and all of this remote work that continues to be a bigger and bigger motivation for people to work from home or to at least have the ability to work remotely. This is making places like Colorado and like Denver specifically that much more enjoyable and valuable to people for places to consider moving to. Think about it. If you were working remotely and you had the ability really to work from wherever, why wouldn't you choose to be in a place that really embraced that lifestyle? A lot of friends and people that I've known over the years, especially after I graduated college, a lot of my friends, they chose to go to places just because of the job opportunities that existed in those big cities. Again, places like Chicago, San Francisco, maybe New York, Boston. Nowadays, there's so many more jobs that are allowing remote work and really allowing the employee to live from wherever they choose. So with that, that's a really big pro and a positive to places like Denver, because not only for yourself possibly if you're a remote worker, but also just seeing this from a business perspective and for resale value on any home that you might purchase. Because of this, these lifestyle type cities are only going to get more and more popular, and there's going to be more and more demand for them. So Denver is a great example of that. I would say Salt Lake City is another one that I really see up and coming for that same exact reason. But for Denver, I just think this is something to keep in mind in the back of your head and really see over these next couple years how much this technology and AI and more specifically that remote work capability, how much that changes the demand for living in a place like here in Denver, Colorado. So I also thought it'd just be valuable to share one little statistic with you guys before closing out this video. I've shared this on a few other recent videos that I've put out. And just real quick, if you guys don't know, I do this every single week, every single Sunday, new videos come out. So if you're not subscribed yet, hit that like and that subscribe button really quick, just to make sure you guys are notified and get them as soon as they come out every single week. But what I wanted to share with you is this U-Haul Move Index. So U-Haul, they put out an annual moving index. And what a great company to be able to do this, because they're tracking where these moving trucks are going, every day, 24/7, all over the country. And Colorado has actually always been very high on the list of places people are moving to. Well, 2024, so this last full year of data that they had available, which has been available now for about the past 6 months, they actually reported that Colorado moved all the way down to number 40. So they actually are now in the 20% lowest of states that people are moving to. And that has to do with other factors like cost of living, and especially the difference between the housing costs and the average or median household income. So there's a very big difference between those two, which makes it a very unaffordable place to live right now. A lot of things though are changing on a more macro level. Some of these interest rates are finally starting to come down. There's just a lot of other moving pieces and factors. And I think once some of that does work itself out, Colorado is going to be right back moving up the ranks, and maybe not in the top 10 like it has been for a long time, but definitely much higher on that list. And I think with a lot of the stuff we're talking about with AI and technology and the ability to have more remote work, I really think this is going to be a dramatic catalyst for pushing more of that interest back for people wanting to be in Denver, Colorado and moving out here. So I do think that that's a little bit of a clickbait type news story. If you have seen that yourself or maybe on some of my other videos, I do think it's important to realize where we're at currently. We're at that number 40 spot with U-Haul, but it's going to change. Mark my words. Okay, with all that being said, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. Hope you got a little bit of value out of it from a Colorado and Denver native. And I just want to close it out with one last thing. Every single month, I'm hosting these live, free Denver Homebuyer Masterclasses. As I said, they're free and online. All you have to do is make sure you grab a ticket before they fill up. They fill up every single month. I'm going to put a link down below in the show notes. It's free. Just click the link, sign up, and I would love to see you on that next webinar. We talk all about strategies on what's working today to help buyers still get that home of their dreams. But also we talk just through market statistics, some of the trends that I'm seeing right now with my boots on the ground, doing real estate day in and day out. So a lot of just info and valuable content to share with you on those Homebuyer Masterclasses. So again, hit that link down below, grab a seat. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. And I'm really excited to share a brand new episode of Living in Denver with you next week. So make sure you stick around, like and subscribe this one so you're the first to receive it. And I'll see you then on a brand new episode of Living in Denver. See you then. Bye.